Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start. So, can you tell me what was the Vampire's Mate all about? So, of course, without giving too much spoiler, because we don't want to spoil everyone, do we?
Yeah. So, in short, I can say that Vampire's Mate is like a new adult paranormal romance that features vampires, and all the way it will encounter love triangle and some betrayal and secret past.
That's interesting. So, what pushed you to write this book about vampires and all?
I've been thinking about this, and I still haven't really find out the reason why I wrote this book, because at that time I was writing another fantasy book, but then I started to have another like divided part of my brain that wants to write, kind of push me to write this book too. And but I can say that the big inspirations come from Twilight and the Vampire Diaries. So yeah, so kind of like I'm also an avid reader of Vampire story, and that's kind of made me want to like finish up this story before the other fantasy.
Oh, I see. So, is fantasy your particular genre that you love to write, or any other genre?
It may sound a little exaggerating, but I like almost every genre except horror. Yeah. So, but I have to say, yeah, fantasy is like my most favorite. But I also read other like contemporary, like sci-fi, and young adult, and many other things. And I also like mystery. Most of my favorite are romantic suspense, where you will find romance along the way with the mystery and other stuff. I haven't gotten to write a mystery book yet. I find it very challenging.
Yes, agreed. It will take lots of research per se.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, for the next question, when did you realize that you wanted to write?
Like when did I realize I wanted to write a story or just a
Yeah,
story?
the,
Oh,
the, the whole story. Like, I love to write, so I really wanted to share my book or any
oh.
that kind of thought.
So yeah, it's a long story actually, because I think I love reading since I was young, but I didn't get to read an English book because English is not my native language. So we are taught in our mother tongue, which is Khmer, and we have a lot of school subject at that time. But my favorite is usually what we call Khmer literature, which consists of stories inside it. And I find myself like skipping the pages and try to find all the stories in the book I can find even before school starts. And then I think when I started high school, discovered an English fiction, and then at that time when I get that fiction, I realized that in a short paragraph there are more than 10 words that I don't know what it means, but I still read it anyway. I don't know why. Like my passion for reading just drives me to want to read it, and I started to fall in love with English literature. And I started writing maybe around that high school time, but I just write like short story. Like sometimes when I watch a cartoon, yes, I still watch cartoon when I was in high school. So after I watch it, I kind of developed like another alternative scenarios on that cartoon, and then I started writing short story on my book or in my diary, something like that. And I never get serious about writing until I think December 2019 when I discovered Wattpad, and I just started writing seriously starting that time. I think maybe my passion for reading drives me to write, because once you read a lot of stories, you kind of build your own imagination in your head that you kind of want to share it out too. So yeah, I think that's part of the whole thing, writing thing.
That is very nice to hear. So, when we love reading, we ought to, we are determined to make something on our own.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, for the next, on the Vampire's Mate, who was your favorite character to write about?
At first, my favorite character is of course, the female protagonist. Her name is, I should be able to say it right, not a spoiler. Her name is Gracie Kim, and because she kind of have a little bit of common with me because I put her nationality as Cambodian, so I kind of like get more connections with her. But like on half of the story, I kind of fall in love with my second male lead, which is always like one of my traits. Like whenever I read books or I watch drama, I always like having that, we call it second male lead syndrome, and it doesn't happen when I write a story. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, second male lead syndrome. So I get that a lot too when I'm watching TV series. So,
Yeah.
um, in writing, how do you find time or manage your time? Is there any outline you have followed in writing the book?
I'm actually more of a pantser than a plotter. So I think for this book, I only make like 5 chapters, like make outline for only 5 chapters, and the rest I let like the story guide me or the plot guide me. Sometimes it create a plot twist that I didn't expect to put. So yeah, but I did when it comes to the near ending, like maybe 3 or 4 chapters to the ending, I did make an outline again so that I don't fall like way too like stray too much from the original plot. Yeah.
All right. So as a writer, also I do that a lot. It's like the characters have their own minds to continue their own story, and you just follow them through it. So, um, what were your learnings during the writing process?
What did I learn during the writing process? I think I discovered that I'm more of a, not that I'm saying I'm an expert, but I think I thought I might be good at writing sad scenes. But when I write a story, I realize that I think I'm kind of good at writing like humor scene instead, which is like still surprises me until this day because I never really read humor book. And when it comes to a drama, I also rarely watch comedy. But I don't know why when it started writing, people say that my comedy scene is very hilarious and realistic. It still surprised me until now. But I'm glad that I discover another side of myself I've never knew.
Yes. So when we write for a long time, we get to find our own style in writing.
Yes,
So for you,
exactly.
what do you think makes a good story?
I'm actually asking this question to my readers and my fellow writers as well. Like, how do they define a good story? And a lot of them give me various reasons. Like some say maybe good structure, maybe good grammar, or maybe like interesting plot. But up until this day, I still don't know what make a good book. The only thing I know is that there are 2 types of book. The one that I force myself to read, and the that type is that I force myself to stop. And so for
Okay.
me personally only, personal opinion only, I think the good book is what can hook your readers in the first page until the end, make your reader cry and laugh along with the story, and perhaps maybe like make them deeply connected with the character or maybe the plot or the story at some point. This is what I think.
Oh, that's good. That's great. So, what do you like to do when you're not writing? Any hobbies or such work?
Obviously, when I don't write, I read for inspiration. I also watch dramas, and I like to discover many things. Like I want to see how the dramas go, especially with books that make a movie adaptation or something. I want to do a little research, like after a book getting adapted, what are the changes? How are they going to change some scenes, or how are they going to add something? And I kind of want to research on this. I don't know why. Yeah, and also when I don't read, I also have to like to study. I still have some self-study things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So you really manage your time well, because you finished a book and published that for the world to see. And what advice would you give to those aspiring writers aiming to become a published author like you?
I don't think I'm in any position to give advice since I'm also new to this field myself. But the only thing I can say is that believe in yourself, be confident, and love your writing. I think some new writers they kind of feel depressed that they may not have a reader to read their story, and sometimes they kind of change their story to to I don't know like to satisfy the readers. That sometimes they kind of hate the story themselves. So I don't think I recommend this. I mean, of course, you write because you also want readers to read it, but apart from that, you are the first reader. So make sure you love the story yourself, fall in love with it, so that other people, so that you can share the love with other people too. Yeah. So the advice is that be confident and love your craft.
That is very on point. So, I'm sure a lot of aspiring writers look up to you because you are a published, you made it, you know. So, aside from this new release book, The Vampire's Mate, any other thing or announcement you'd like to let everyone know about your writing career?
Actually, I have, I think maybe three ongoing full-length novel, and I'm actually wrapping up my BL fantasy titled The Elf King and and I'm not sure, but I mean, like, I'm making decision whether to publish this or not. I'm still in consideration. It's I think it's 70% finished. So maybe I'll take the time that I like edit things and decide whether I send in for submission or not. And I also have like BL Contemporary that is currently ongoing on Dreamy platform. But mostly right now, I focus on my young adult fiction titled Love Born from Revenge, which is a science story on Dreamy. Yeah.
I see. So, are there any people you'd like to thank, or you can invite readers to follow you on social media sites? You can use your language.
I'm sorry,
Wherein,
what did you say?
yes,
Can
are
you
there?
repeat what you said?
Yes, sure. Are there any people you'd like to thank, or you can invite your readers to follow you on social media sites? You can speak in your mother tongue, or you can use English. It's up to you.
Okay. So I'm going to say in my mother tongue so that my mom and my sister can understand. ចឹងសម្រាប់សភៅនេះដំបូងខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណដល់ប៉ាម៉ាក់ខ្ញុំដែលគាត់បានលើកទឹកចិត្តឲ្យខ្ញុំមានកម្លាំងមានកម្លាំងចិត្តដើម្បីសរសេរសភៅនេះពីដើមរហូតដល់ចប់គ្រប់គ្រងខ្ញុំរហូតដល់ខ្ញុំសម្រេចដល់ថ្ងៃនេះហើយក៏អរគុណដល់បងស្រីធំរបស់ខ្ញុំទាំងពីរបងកាញ់វីហើយនិងបងកល្យានដែលគឺជាបងស្រីដែលគឺជាទីគោរពរបស់ខ្ញុំហើយនិងបងថ្លៃរបស់ខ្ញុំគឺបងប្រុសសាលីណូដែលគាត់តែងតែជួយ like guide ខ្ញុំហើយនឹងបង្រៀនខ្ញុំជាពិសេសតទៅនឹងភាសាអង់គ្លេសនិងអ្វីៗផ្សេងៗទៀតហើយក៏សូមអរគុណដល់មិត្តភ័ក្តិពីរនាក់របស់ខ្ញុំដែលតែងតែនៅជាមួយខ្ញុំរហូតគឺពុទ្ធកលហើយនិងដាវីផងដែរ and now I'm going to say this in English for my readers because I think I have international readers more than my local readers. So I just want to say thank you to all my readers, especially those who has been with me since Wattpad Day. You always encourage me to write, even though English is not my native language and there bound to be grammar mistake, but you never mind. And you just keep telling me to keep on going. And then when I really published this book out, you really bought the book and show it to me. I really am. Thank you for your support. And I hope that you can continue to support me and I will try my best to bring the best story to you. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, that's very nice. So finally, final question. How was your experience with Okioto Publishing?
My experience with Yuki Yuto Publishing is, what can I say, the best? I don't know because I feel at first I feel like a little nervous and intimidated to contact Yuki Yoto because they look like a big publishing house. So I thought maybe they're going to ignore my email or maybe they just don't look at it because I'm a no name person. but I was so surprised when they replied my mail. Like I sent I at first I didn't send it as a submission. I asked them like general question, and it take less than, I think, if I remember right, less than an hour for them to reply, and they use a very friendly tone, which I like it encouraged me to take a further step. So yeah, then I think maybe next week I start polishing my manuscript and send it to them, and they also like they try to reply every of my email, and also during the contract process they also have answering the question, even though I have like tons of questions for them, but they never ignore my email, and I just want to say thank you. It's one of the most one of the best experience I have so far.
Thank you very much. That is great to hear. So Okiro Publishing really gives chances to all writers aspiring, either aspiring or established. I'm glad you are one of them. So congratulations on the published your published book, Vampire's Mate. So I hope yes. So that would be it. Thank you very much again for having you here with us today.
Yeah, thank you, but I'm sorry, can
Yes,
I forgot to sing another important person. Can I say thank to her?
sure, sure, sure.
I just realized. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind. But now I'm going to say it. My cousin Bonnie, thank you so much for always trusting me and believing in my writing when no one else does. And thank you for always being my first reader and best supporter. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Bonnie, your cousin. Okay. Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much.
thank you very much. So I hope to talk with you again soon, hopefully on your next published book.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.